Okay, so yesterday we talked about multiplying positive and negative fractions, or simply multiplying fractions, and how to do that. Today we are going to talk about dividing your fractions, positive and negative, also eventually. Okay, so fractions. We are going to just continue this where we left off on page 29. Okay, dividing positive and negative fractions. Page 29. The date today is 9/13/17. All right, go ahead and flip to that page. As you can see, this is where we finished off with our positive and negative fractions and what to do on multiplying that. All right. So before we start with positive and negative fractions on division, we simply have to know how to divide fractions to begin with. Because just like everything else that we have already discussed, once we know how to do the process, when we put in positive and negative fractions into it, we're just meshing together our rules that we have learned through integer rules and everything, and using that towards our fractions as well. Okay, so dividing fractions. All right. So our first example, actually, no, we're going to write something else before an example. We're going to start with what I think majority of you know, and if not, that is okay. I call it the KFC. Some people use KCF, but I like to use KFC because it reminds me of Kentucky Fried Chicken. All right, so the K stands for keep, and we're keeping the first fraction, keeping it the same. The F stands for flip the second fraction. Okay, when flipping, this is actually called, and I'm going to write this in a different color. This is actually called the reciprocal. Reciprocal. Okay, I think I spelled that right. And then the C stands for change. And we are changing the operation to multiplication. And from there, once we do a keep, flip, change, we get our multiplication, and that's what we learned about just yesterday. Okay, so multiplying fractions. So dividing fractions, we keep, flip, change, which gives us our multiplying fractions, and then at that point, we would multiply straight across. So let's go ahead and look at an example. If I have an example of, say, 1/2 divided by 3/4, we take our method of keeping the first fraction, flipping the second fraction, and changing the operation from division to multiplication. So we do keep, flip. Okay, so it's just flipping these around and then changing to multiplication. And from there, like yesterday, when we have multiplying fractions, we multiply straight across. So 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. And then you can reduce at that point, or reduce last. You can also reduce diagonally with the 2 and the 4, which is something we talked about yesterday, and I can do that in a different example. So we're going to reduce both the top and bottom by 2, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And so your answer for 1/2 divided by 3/4 is 2/3. All right, so I'm going to review our steps. First, with division, we have we use KFC, keep, flip, change. Then once we have done that, you multiply straight across. Okay, and then simplify or reduce if necessary. All right, another example. What if we have, let's say, 7/8 divided by, oh, sorry, kind of not in view. There we go. 7/8 divided by 1/2. Okay. We use first rule is doing KFC because we have a division. KFC. We keep the first fraction. 7/8. We flip the second fraction or take the reciprocal, which is 2/1, and change the division to a multiplication. That's that's doing the KFC. The next thing that we do, second step, is to simply multiply straight across. But instead of multiplying straight across on this step number 2, we are going to reduce diagonally. Oops, I misspelled because I'm already thinking ahead. All right, so we're reducing 2 and 8 by a division of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now I have 7/4 or 7/4 here and 1/1. I still then need to multiply straight across. 7 times 1 equals 7. 4 times 1 equals 4. Okay, so on this one, I multiplied straight across and then reduced afterwards. Now I'm reducing diagonally and then multiplying straight across. Can I keep this as 7/4? This is an improper fraction. So no, we cannot keep it that way. We have to change our improper fractions back to a mixed number or into a mixed number if we didn't start off with it. All right. So on this step, on this example, the last thing we do is change improper back to mixed. 4 goes into 7 one whole time. Okay, and I'm going to come up here with my answer. Ran out of room, sorry. 1 whole time. 4 times 1 is 4. So 7 minus 4 is 3, and our denominator stays the same, 4. Your answer for 7/8 divided by 1/2 is 1 3/4. All right. So that's simply dividing with fractions. When you have division, you use the KFC method, Kentucky Fried Chicken if you want to keep, flip, change. Okay, once you change this operation into multiplication because you've kept the first fraction, flip the second fraction, multiply straight across, then simplify. Or you can reduce diagonally first, then multiply straight across, If you end up with an improper fraction, make sure you change it back to a mixed number or change it into a mixed number.